What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So it is that time of week where we set aside some time to talk about Dexter Resurrection. I imagine if you are following this series like we are, you are aware that episode 7 dropped last week, early last week. We do allow some time to pass from when the time the episode drops to the time I decide to do a review or give my thoughts on the episode, overall series. That way it minimizes the spoilers as much as possible. But going forward for this series, along with the series we're getting ready to start as well, that will probably put a video up either later today or tomorrow, which is the Alien Earth series that just kicked off also. Just kicked off this past week. So a lot of content currently dropping. Dexter's about done. We're more than halfway now past the midpoint of that series. I'm going to be keeping now these episode reviews, especially on TV series, and more than likely the movie reviews that I'm going to start getting back into, keeping them very short, much shorter, right? What I've been doing lately has been a summary, like almost like a breakdown, step by step, play by play of the episode. I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I think when I do that, it kind of, again, it spoils it a bit for those who either are waiting to binge watch the entire series when all the episodes are available, or maybe some people just don't have the time to watch them all when they release, so they might be trying to get caught back up, and I want to be respectful of that. So while we will be talking spoilers, so spoiler alert, we are going to be talking spoilers, I'm not going to be doing play-by-plays of episodes anymore. I'm just going to be highlighting a few things. One, to keep the episode runtime for like the videos like this down significantly, while at the same time, touching on some of the key points that I want to talk about from the episodes. So with that said, spoilers again, we're going to be talking spoilers. There will be some spoilers, so be aware. So let's get into it. Let me pull up some of the notes I made, because again, I want to try to be a little bit more concise as we get into more like the TV series stuff. So episode 7, Course Correction, was the name of the episode. Again, this one dropped last week, and episode 8 will be coming. I think these drop on Tuesdays, if I'm correct. If not, Thursdays. Either way, next episode 8 comes next week. So Course Correction, I very much like episode 5. I did not like this episode. I was digging the series. Okay, episode 1, 2, setting the foundation. We're getting there. Episode 3 and 4. Okay, starting to feel like Dexter's back. Episode 5 was an absolute waste of time to me. I felt it was the absolute definition of a filler episode. I just felt like they could have done so much more. Episode 6 was a banger, especially the cliffhanger with the Gemini killer. I don't think anyone saw that one coming, where in fact that the Gemini killer is not just a killer, it's killers. It was twin brothers, Dexter killing one of them, and then Dexter finding out that there's a twin. And I think everyone that saw that episode was hyped to go into episode 7 to see where this one was going to take us. So now we know, and FYI, Maya is confirmed dead, even though we did touch on our episode 6 review where the actress said, hey, or Lady Vengeance is dead. And we did touch on this last week, where the actress came out and said, well, you never know. So we had thought maybe it was staged, and it still very well could play out that way. But as it stands now, in this episode 7, Prater, however you pronounce his name, Peter Dinklage's character, came out and said she's dead. So again, unless they're just trying to throw us off track that she could or might still be alive, we'll have to wait and see. But as it stands going into this episode, we don't have many serial killers left for this party. We have Dexter, who's taking over the identity of Red, or the Dark Passenger. You have Al, who goes by Rapunzel, and then you have the Gemini killer, played by David Dismachin. So, but again, it's one of half of the Gemini killers, because Dexter killed the other one. So this episode, I feel again, it's not as bad as episode 5 as far as from a filler perspective, but it was, for me, it was pretty damn close. They, in my opinion, they botched and wasted the entire cliffhanger of episode 6. How are you going to have the Gemini killer that we think is just one killer all the way up until that point, only to find out it's a twin? And it was, again, a banger of a cliffhanger. All right, let's capitalize on this. No, didn't capitalize on it at all. It was a huge waste of an amazing cliffhanger. So, and where I'm going with this is we eventually get to this a retreat, like this massive like vineyard type property, because they all got in a helicopter and left. So they go to this other property, and again, we're down to the 3 serial killers. Ultimately, what ends up happening is Dexter approaches him like on a bench away from the group, and comes out and says, "Yeah, I know you have a twin." They have a little bit back and forth, and then Dexter says, "Yeah, I killed him," to get the guy riled up. And then he attacks Dexter. Dexter ends up killing him. And that was it. It was, again, just the biggest waste. Not just of the character, the actor, David Dismachin's ability. I mean, he plays this role. I mean, I think of all the serial killers outside of Dexter, his was the best as far as embodying that role. Just a huge disappointment. I can't say anything more or express any more how much I think they just wasted the opportunity to really capitalize on the fact of such a twist from episode 6 going into the rest of these episodes. Even if they would have killed him off maybe in 8, I mean, at least keep him around for something more dramatic than just saying, oh, he's got a twin. They go to this, off the grid or, out of the city vineyard, and him and Dexter get into a little scuffle, and Dexter kills him. Kills him in front of everybody. They get into the scuffle. People see the scuffle happening from a distance. They all start rushing over there, and Dexter grabs the broken wine glass that he was attacked with and just gangs him right in the neck, and then picks up a piece of glass before anyone can get over there, and then cuts him deeper to make sure he gets the job done. And that's where that ends. So again, a huge waste. Now, as far as Harrison, what's going on with him, he's wanting to go to college. He wants to be a cop, and Dexter's supportive of that. Dexter, of course, like he was very much so in the original series, he was always late for everything. Late to help Rita, late to help Deb, whatever. So he finally shows up at the end of this tour of this college where they go into to hear this keynote speech, and it's the detective that's investigating Harrison and the murder of Foster at the hotel, and neither one of them knew she was going to be in there. So she's showing off or getting the speech about the New York Ripper, showing all these slides and playing one of the audio calls. And when it was all over and done with, Dexter and Harrison approach her, and he decides to show off a bit and say, oh, well, looking at the blood splatter of this image, likely he was using this type of weapon or that type of weapon. And we are meant to believe, if you remember when Dexter was shown the trophy room at Prouder's house, that he has the murder one, at least one of, or maybe the murder weapon in his trophy room. So it's not as if they're going to find that just lying in someone's apartment, right? So anyways, so yeah, that's where that is. We didn't see much of the detectives throughout this one. There was a bit of interaction between her and Batista. Batista's kind of lingering around, right? He's really trying to push these detectives to really pursue Dexter and Harrison. Not so much Harrison, but more so Dexter. Again, I think he's lingering around, and I thought maybe he would be killed off, because there is an episode like Touch of an Angel or something like that is the title of it. I don't know if that's exactly it, but when you go look up the number of episodes, the actor, the name escapes me, that the name of the actor that plays Batista, it says he's in all 10 episodes. So that tells me he's not going to die, obviously, in episode 8 or 9. He's going to make it through the entire series and either gets killed at the very end of episode 10, or they don't at all kill him off, and they're just potentially setting things up for a season 2. which I think would be a waste. Because the other thing with Batista is he's pursuing Dexter under the guise of, oh well, Dokes is he's really blaming Dexter for Dokes, for Maria, and for Deb. Well, Dexter didn't kill any of them. Is he responsible for their deaths? Yes. Did he kill any of them directly? No. Dokes was killed by Lila, the girl that Dexter was seeing for a bit. Maria was killed by Deb, and Deb was killed by, what was it? His name was Oliver Saxton or something like that. Even though Dexter was the one that ultimately pulled the plug, the life support, he's not the one that put Deb on life support or in that position, right? It was Oliver Saxton. So the rationale Batista's using as his vengeance tour doesn't make sense. And the fact that Batista's not even a police officer anymore. And it's almost as if I remember correctly, he's coming across as if he is. He's not. He retired before he left Florida or Miami, and he told, and that was when he saw Joey Quinn, and he didn't tell Joey anything, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm retiring." But it seems like he's trying to come across as if, yeah, I'm still a police officer. No, you're not. You're impersonating law enforcement, sir. So maybe you need to be arrested. So, but Batista eventually finds where Dexter lives, talks to his landlord, and charms his way in until Dexter shows back up at the apartment late at night, and then they go for a drive, and then you can see the tension, and then Dexter, in so many words, pretty much tells him, you need to back off. And then, there's this a bit where I don't know if it's going to turn into anything or not, where Batista leaves these AirPods or like AirPod case or whatever in Dexter's car. Now, obviously, that could be used, as we know, with most Apple devices. You can track where is my device or whatever. So he puts the AirPod case in the little door panel, and Dexter leaves. So he could be using that to track Dexter, and maybe he shows up, when Dexter's disposing of a body, or Harrison and him are disposing, something, right? But again, the actor who plays Batista, the character is there for all 10 episodes, so I can't imagine that why would he be listed for all 10 episodes if they're going to kill him off in episode 8 or 9, right? They would just say, yeah, he's not in them. So yeah, and that's pretty much where it ends. Like I said, I want to keep this very high level, pretty much summary level at this point. Batista's on his revenge tour, in my opinion, for kind of the wrong reasons. I mean, if you think he's the Bay Harbor Butcher, you can't directly link Dexter to those 3 kills or anyone else. And we do see Batista holding up his phone at the end where it says Angel's iPod or AirPods or something. So he is using it to track him. It's just a matter of what does that lead to? Because again, what authority does Batista really have? He doesn't really have any. So I had thought maybe they were gonna, he would stumble across Dexter or Harrison, and they would kill Batista, because Dexter would be like, "Hey, you've left me no choice. I told you to back off. I'm gonna have to take you out now." Again, not that great of an episode. I think there was a lot of misses here, a lot of missed opportunity, especially with the Gemini killer. I mean, now we're left with Rapunzel. I mean, of all the serial killers that they had in this little grouping for this party that started, Rapunzel is the one that's left. It would not have been on my bingo card that he would be the last one standing that Dexter would be taking out. So anyways, as far as score for this one, I'm gonna give it I'm giving it a 2. This was a definite 2. And I forgot to pull it up, but let's just, we're almost done with the video, but I want to pull up for the sakes of the episode. I give it a 2. Episode 7 was not the best one out of the bunch. It's definitely at the bottom part of the bunch of episodes, with, again, episode 5 being, in my opinion, the worst one. Then there's this one. They got to get it back on track. We got 3 episodes left, 8, 9, and 10. I think they gotta turn it around fast. We know, I can't imagine Rapunzel is the serial killer name. His name is Al, or he goes by Al. I can't imagine he's gonna live much longer. He might make it to episode 9, or unless they kill him off in the next episode, and then the last 2 where Dexter's solely focused on Charlie and Prouder, or Prater, however you pronounce his name. In this image on the screen, it's the 2 people on the left, unless it comes down to how he eventually takes the 2 of them out. But then again, he has Batista to deal with, which I think is also kind of just forced in now a little bit. Yeah, so this episode, giving it 2. Overall series, I'm not enjoying it as much as I was hoping. It's not turning out to be as I guess dramatic and as suspenseful, in my opinion, as the original series, which I think it's always going to be hard to, when you have to look back on the original series, anything they do after that, it's going to be hard to, in my opinion, garner that same lightning in a bottle. But overall series, I'm at a 3. It's a mid. It's pretty mid for me. When this is, unless they absolutely just, these last 3 episodes just put out 3 bangers, it will probably be 3.5 overall series for me. And then will I watch it again? Probably not for a while. It'll probably be a long time before I watch it again. Now, if they do a season 2, I will obviously probably watch like the last couple of episodes of season 1 just to refresh my brain, and then go into season 2. But after that, it's not like the original series of Dexter, where like the first few seasons I've gone back and repeatedly watched over time. Like New Blood, I've watched. That was a one and done for me. I've never gone back and watched New Blood except for preparation of this series coming out. Original Sin, one and done. Have not gone back and watched that. Will I watch it again? I'll watch the last 2 episodes prior to season 2 coming out. So again, for this one, a 2. Episode 7's a 2. Overall series now, it's at a 3, maybe a 3.5, but that would take some convincing for me. Pretty mid at this point, and again, it'd be a one and done viewing for me. So, all right, so let's get back to full screen here. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this. Yeah, like I said, I want to keep these pretty short and sweet now at this point. So that's gonna do it for episode 7 of Dexter Resurrection. Again, episode 7's name was Course Correction. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the episode if you've seen it. And also what you think about the overall series, 7 episodes in. Again, we have 3 more to go over the course of the next 3 weeks. So we'll be back next weekend with our thoughts on episode 8. Again, I'm hoping they turn it around, because at this point, I'm not that blown away about this series. And I know the whole Dexterverse is something that they're really wanting to push forward. So again, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps out. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.